Ultimate Cut, huh? Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
You ever seen the Ultimate Cut?
Yeah. Hey, you know, it's a 10-year anniversary of Watchmen movie.
Hey, do you want to review Watchmen for the show? The movie?
Yeah, man. I'm used to drinking at noon and putting on women's clothing. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
You're already in it.
I was wearing it actually. But even before you brought that up. It's weird. Right?
That is very weird.
All right. You ready for this?
Yeah, Watchmen, baby.
Ultimate Cut.
The Ultimate Cut.
Only way to watch it, my friend.
That cut is way long. It's like over three and a half
hours. I know, of awesome slow-mo goodness. Are you ready for this? Let your senses just soak it up.
I really don't know if I am ready for this, Dave.
Well, you gotta be, because it's an endeavor. Have you gone to the bathroom recently?
No.
You should go again.
All right, yeah. Do you want to start the movie?
Do you have second thoughts here?
I'm starting to get some, yes.
It's a 10-year anniversary, Troy.
I get that.
If not now, when?
Well, I've never really thought of it that way.
All right. Let's put it in. I mean, come on.
There's some sort of cat here.
Cat's ready. So you're telling me there's something wrong with Watchmen? Is that what you're feeding me?
Listen, I'm just saying it may not be the best movie out there ever.
I think you're wrong. I think you're fundamentally wrong.
Okay.
But, prove it. You know, go ahead. Show me. Do that thing you do.
You mean start the movie?
Yeah, that thing. Do that thing. Do it. Oh my God. It's a joke.
We're only 30 minutes in, Dave. Strap in. We got the rest of the day for this. This is on you. This is on you, man.
Taking another look at Watchmen on our Doomsday Clock watch. It's a hashtag.
It is. It's trending.
It's trending. That's right. It's up to you, loyal viewers.
That's right.
So today, we're looking at the cinematic adaptation. Mm-hmm. We're here on its 10-year anniversary.
That's right.
This day.
The unfilmable.
The unfilmable.
Well, bullshit, because it's there.
Exactly. Look how many versions of it.
So many.
Holy shit. I think some of them are even off camera. Slight turn. There's 3. I'm going to go back. I need my elbow room. All right. But yes, Watchmen has been filmed. The unfilmable has been filmed and has been adapted probably more than any other comic. Because we're also getting a TV show later this year.
That's right.
There's been a motion comic.
Yes.
There's been umpteen different versions of the feature film.
Mm-hmm.
So put that in your beard and comb it. Do you remember the legal history with this right before it was set to premiere?
I know I read about it when it came out, but I couldn't tell you what it is now.
I think there was some sort of weird mix-up where Fox initially had the rights to this movie.
Okay.
Because it's been in development since the comic ended.
Right.
Since '87, they were going to make this movie.
Right.
And it's gone through multitudes of different directors.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Gilliam was going to direct it once. Darren Aronofsky was going to do it at one time.
I remember that.
Before finally settling on Zack Snyder, visionary director Zack Snyder.
Right.
In 2005, finishing it, ready for distribution in 2006, and literally like 2 months, maybe less, before it premiered, Fox chimed in and said, "No,
we're gonna get bought by Disney."
You're jumping ahead.
I'm
the
too
tachyons
far.
are messing you up here.
Got it.
No, they said, actually, Warner Brothers, we kind of still own some sort of rights to this thing.
Oy.
And they like halted the process, and it was this big issue where we didn't know if we were going to get Watchmen. Because then I guess they came to some sort of agreement. I don't know if they split some sort of the meager shares that this brought in. But yeah, for a while there was like this big outcry of like, man, is this even going to get released after all this time? You know?
I remember following it actually now that when I was in college, and I'm like, oh shit.
I might not get to see this.
Why? But it just begs the question, why on earth would they wait so long?
I know.
Why? What would be the benefit to all this?
Yeah.
Just to stick it to them?
I guess.
What the fuck?
I don't know if they thought this was going to bring in, like, huge money. I guess everyone thought it was gonna, but it didn't, you know? And it's not really surprising, knowing how faithfully it was to the source material. This isn't something for, like, the masses.
Not particularly, no.
No.
But I want to say it didn't do terrible. Did it have a return?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't go that deep into it. I remember when it came out, there was a producer that sent a public letter to the fans urging them to see it more than once. Basically saying, like, this type of movie doesn't get made that often. You really got to show your support. And at this time, I was like, okay, 2 more tickets. And I think I saw this 3 times in the theater. I was on the hype train for Watchmen at this point. I remember I was the editor of the college paper, and I think I wrote 3 separate stories about Watchmen. Like, it's almost here. It's here. What did everyone think about it now that it's here? Until like the teacher was like, "All right, Dave, you gotta stop writing about Watchmen."
We're getting people actually writing in and complaining.
Yes.
I remember when it was first announced, I was way hyped about it because I've read the book probably twice since then. And so that Halloween, I dressed up as Dr. Manhattan to nobody's acclaim because nobody knew who it was.
Are you Tobias Fuke?
I didn't even get that. I was Blue Man Group the whole night. That was a rough night. Not only did I shave my whole body, but I painted myself all blue, and I couldn't
Moments before the party.
Yes. So that was a bad time.
Everything around your place had blue fingerprints and
just like the blue house. Yeah. I think Dinosaur Neil's iPad got stolen. Oh, like, it was a bad time.
And he was his Rorschach, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. You should have cracked some skulls.
Should have tracked that punk down.
Should have hatcheted some heads.
So, needless to say, if you can't already garner from our acclaim, or from our excitement here, we were hyped for Watchmen. We went in as giddy fanboys.
Yes.
I remember going in with low expectations because it's like, how could it come close? I love it. It's my favorite graphic novel of all time. I'm going in, with bated breath. And I remember watching it, really enjoying it, and leaving the theater thinking like, wow, that was really good. Like, I'm surprised. I think I really enjoyed it. I think they might have done it,
Right.
And the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. And I saw it a couple more times, saw it on DVD and everything, and held firmly to the belief that it was like one of the best superhero movies ever. And I feel like since that honeymoon phase, every time I've revisited it in like maybe the last 5 or 6 years, it's kind of like a case of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Where now maybe I'm able to see past the rose-colored glasses and I'm picking out the cracks in it a little bit more.
When I went to go see this movie on opening night at midnight, I was super stoked.
Yeah, I think I was there. I think we all went.
Yeah.
Big group.
I think met my expectations because I was watching all the production of it up until it came out, and I was like, yes! And then they did make a few changes to the movie, but ones that I didn't really care about so much. I was like, I think that works better
As
for
a film.
this
Yeah.
than it would if they did an exact duplication of the comic.
Yeah. I was able to weigh out the good and the bad, and I was more satisfied with what they kept in than with what they left out.
Yes, same.
Yeah, I think they made the right decision in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're looking back at the movie 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
You just watched it. I just watched the goddamn Ultimate Cut. I just spent 5 days watching the Ultimate Cut.
Yes.
It's 3 hours and 35-minute long movie.
I've still never seen the Ultimate Cut. And I have no interest in seeing the Ultimate Cut.
Yeah, you're fine. You'll get by. I've seen it twice now. Once in one sitting with Dinosaur Neil. And it literally, it went from daylight to nighttime over the course of it. We might have had 2 meals. And it's a long sit.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I just couldn't do it in one sitting. I broke it up. I was on a trip to California. I was all over the place. I watched it in the plane, my hotel room, in bed, everything. Because it didn't grab my attention like it used to. And maybe that's due to overexposure, but it just didn't hold up like it did when I first saw it.
Yeah. So the Ultimate Cut, it's got everything in there. It's the director's cut plus the Black Freighter stuff.
It literally has everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
So, when you're pacing out a movie, the theatrical cut even took beats out from the director's cut, which I personally enjoy, which I don't know why they would have taken out.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't add really that much more to the film.
No.
But they did it so it hit certain beats and goes, in a well-paced manner.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Right.
The Ultimate Cut feels like a mini-series.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with these animated pirate segments in there.
Yes.
Which I will give Zack Snyder infinite credit for demanding that these sequences make it in some form of the movie.
Right.
I love that because he stuck to his guns. He was like, the Black Freighter stuff is integral to the story.
Uh-huh.
And even though it couldn't fit in the cinematic version, I love that he put all this money into it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it work as an enjoyable movie? Not really. But I appreciate that he tried,
Yeah.
But it does. It gives you it just takes you to a full stop every time they come in. And it doesn't mesh the way that a comic within a comic does.
Right.
It doesn't work with an animated comic within a movie.
Right. Yeah. I've seen all of the animated parts just all together. I think it's like a Blu-ray extra. It might be.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have that too.
But as much as I liked them, I'm like, I couldn't even imagine just because they also added in the newsboy and newspaper stand stuff too, right?
Yeah, they have to add in that bridging sequence between every one of those, so you just get kind of filler in there. Which in the comic it's fine; it fleshes out the universe. In a movie that's already bordering 4 hours, you're like, this is too much. Nothing is accomplished here.
Yeah. So, are there any still strengths when you go through this time of the movie?
Yeah, there is. There's some parts of this that are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And these are always what I'm thinking back to when I'm looking at Watchmen and saying, this is a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
There are great moments.
Mm-hmm.
The Dr. Manhattan, Requiem on Mars is close to superhero cinematic brilliance as I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It might be one of my favorite moments of any superhero movie ever. Because I think it's handled so perfectly.
Yeah. It's hauntingly great.
It is. It's so good.
Uh-huh.
The Rorschach interrogation stuff is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They made a couple changes to the comic storyline in terms of how he dispatches the killer.
Uh-huh.
And then they just shortened a lot of it too for length.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that either of those made it into the movie is astonishing to me. Because they both it's another hard stop where the plot is going forward and then we're just going to completely stop for 10 minutes and just go into this other diatribe about this character.
Uh-huh.
But those are the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
And that is what makes the book Watchmen so good because it totally is a sum of parts.
Yes. But you can do that also with issue breaks.
Yeah.
And you would never even see it and as a fault, because you're like, oh, this is a break. I'm gonna do this, and where this is all contained to one big long thing. It's like, it's kind of jarring.
Another a really good addition that Zack Snyder brought to it was the opening credits sequence.
Oh yeah,
which it seems like a weird throwaway, but I feel like many people, even critics of the movie, still praise that opening credits. They're like, oh, that was great though. Throw in some Bob Dylan and just take like the superheroes from their inception to the current time throughout American history is really well done.
Yeah.
And also the initial opening where comedian is attacked and killed in his apartment. While it's a little overly action-packed, I think it's good. I think it's a fun, cool addition to something that we only glimpsed in flashbacks prior to that. Another good moment, the 4 characters reminiscing the comedian during his funeral, I thought was pulled off expertly.
Yes.
The opening of this is really well done.
Yeah.
You know, it follows the first issue almost to a T, to the point where it's like 40 minutes into the movie and we've got to the end of the first issue.
Yeah.
And then like the second issue I think is the funeral, and we go through all of that. We see him from every character's perspective, and they also interweave the music that they've called out to in the in the comic. And just kind of popular, catchy, iconic songs from the time. I think that's all really well done. I've heard a lot of people gripe about the music in this. But I always thought it was good. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the Suicide Squad thing where it's like, let's throw a bunch of catchy pop songs in there. But I think each time the music is used, it reflects that time period. Yeah. And it also calls directly to quotes that Moore puts into the book. Yeah. So I'm okay with that.
Same here. I'm okay with the music. I don't think it ever dives into like Suicide Squad territory where the pop song is in there to trick you into thinking it's good.
Yeah.
Because I was tricked in Suicide Squad. I left knowing that it wasn't a great movie, but I was like, I still had fun with it. And then I thought back and I was like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I was tricked.
You were.
Wholeheartedly tricked.
Hoodwinked.
So there are obviously criticisms of this movie. We've been sprinkling them in here and there.
Yeah. We're going to dig into a couple in a minute here.
A big criticism I have is that it does use a lot of over-violence.
Yes, absolutely. Gratuitous violence.
Yeah, and
sexuality.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just Snyder's signature flair, but for an already R-rated movie for just content and all this kind of stuff, I don't think it really needed any of that, because every time it does happen, like Silk Spectre breaks that guy's arm and his bone pops out, I'm like,
stabs him in the neck.
I'm just like,
they flat out murder these thugs. Granted, they have something coming. Probably not that. But yeah, that is jarring.
Yes.
The rape or attempted rape of Sally Jupiter is extremely graphic and off-putting. Yeah. And I get it, rape is bad, but like he does it to a level where where you feel like you're reveling in it almost. It's too much. He's like punching her and like slamming her head into the table and kicking her. Right. And you're like, okay, it's like too far.
Yeah, it's hard to get behind him later.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I've had people say like, oh, comedian's like one of the most interesting characters. I'm like, not after that, man. Like, after that sequence, you have no shred of empathy for him. Right. The action is enough. Yes. But the fact that they spend so much time and energy going through like these details where it's like, oh my god, man, like
slamming her into the billiard table so hard that it moves.
Yeah, it's like back.
I'm a big guy. I can't move one of those by myself.
Yeah. So with all that gratuitous violence throughout the entire movie, the one moment which should be the appalling violence is completely removed because he switches up the ending.
Oh yeah.
So we have the in the comic, as everyone knows if you're watching this, the book culminates with Ozymandias teleporting a scientifically engineered alien squid monster with telepathic abilities into Midtown Manhattan, where it detonates and kills everyone within like a
radius of however long.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just this brutal, everyone is
horrific
left.
Scene.
Yep. In the movie, they switch it up, which is fine for the movie. but make it like Ozymandias makes it look like Dr. Manhattan has caused an attack.
Yes.
And used his like vaporizing energy to obliterate everybody.
Right.
And that takes away from like the real appalling nature of this crime, where it doesn't hit home in the film where he killed millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just doesn't have that same impact. In the comic, you get like 8 full-page spreads of this carnage laid out among New York City. Yeah. And I would... This sounds horrible, but I'd love to see Zack Snyder pull that off. Like, what would you do with that scene? You know, and that is the thing. You need something that astronomically just gratuitous to show like what this crime really was.
Mm-hmm.
As we just kind of hear about it from his Antarctic retreat, you're like, oh yeah, he set off a bomb. It was real bad. You don't get the impact of what he did and how horrible it really was. And I can't believe Snyder didn't gravitate towards that, like this moment to really go nuts.
Yeah, that's right.
But at the same time, he had all this violence leading up to it that something like that might not have been all that, like, appalling.
I know in the theatrical cut, they have, like, that big shot where it, like, slices buildings in half and they come crashing down.
Yeah.
But does it show people getting, like, vaporized and stuff?
There's one shot where the news vendor and the kid, you know, that famous comic panel, run to each other and they hug and they kind of lift off the ground and then, like, disintegrate in a white flash. But that's it. Okay. You know. Yeah. You could have done more with it, I feel like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially for the whole world to be like, whoa, we probably should rally against this big monstrous telepathic squid.
Yeah, it felt like such an afterthought.
Yeah.
When the book, you know, it gave an eighth of the page count to this atrocity.
Yeah.
Another big complaint for me, and this might just be the nature of the superhero movie, was everyone felt way too overpowered.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in this universe, Dr. Manhattan should be the only superhuman, but there's this really weird, like, razor's edge where you're not sure, like, are these normal people? Or are they, like, somehow enhanced or what? Like, I guess they're supposed to be all normal, but they're just throwing each other around the room and doing things that seem, like, really, like, superhuman.
Yeah, I thought that the first time I saw it, too. I chalked it up to, it was like, oh, that was a cool action scene at the time. But then when you think about it, I'm like, how the hell is Silk Spectre kicking that guy 30 feet across an alley?
Like through a wall, yeah. I feel like just a brutal, like, drag-out fight would be so much more impactful than this really showy, superhero-y thing that we got.
Well, the Daredevil hallway fight scene hasn't come out yet. So.
Oh, I guess so. Like, and that's it. You know, that is so much more impactful as a viewer. Where you're just like, you feel every hit of that.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my god, he's still going.
But at the same time, like, if anybody else could do those things, I wouldn't care if Ozymandias was able to do it. Like, only just because
he's a cut above everyone.
Yeah. But even then, like, I would still have a hard time seeing him, like, kick somebody into a dumpster from 50 feet away or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yep. So how about the casting of this?
I thought it was superbly casted. I don't think there's a real weak point, really. I'm not a huge fan of who they got for Silk Spectre.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't think she's bad.
She has a very thankless role in the story. Yeah. Even in the original book, I think she's just kind of a downer.
Yeah. But otherwise, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is great as a comedian.
Yep. Anyone else, he would have been despicable. I mean, I've said he is, but somehow people still kind of like him in this.
Yeah. I like Patrick Wilson as Night Owl. He's like, great. Sympathetic.
Yep. Unsung hero.
Yes.
Rorschach is dead on.
Yeah, Rorschach is dead on.
Right out of the comic.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that when it was first, now I'm losing his name. Dr. Manhattan.
Billy Crudup.
Billy Crudup was cast as him. You were kind of off-put because you didn't ever read his voice that way.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, did you immediately fall into it? Because I love his calming, nothing carefree, like, nothing can bother me voice. Like,
I go back and forth on it. When I initially read the comic, I picture him in this commanding, deep, confident voice.
Yeah.
And when I first heard how he does the role in this very timid, like calming voice, where he's like walking on eggshells around people, it was off-putting. And I get the reasoning behind it, that he's so powerful, he's making a conscious effort to appear less threatening. But part of me kind of wonders, and especially after just reading the comic again, I'm kind of like, man, I don't know. I see them as two completely different characters. The comic Dr. Manhattan and the movie Dr. Manhattan are very different.
I can't... Now, I am far enough removed from how I initially read Dr. Manhattan that I don't even remember anything but now, like, Billy Crudup's voice as the character now.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, I was like, that is a pretty ingenious way to do it. Even to the point where Zack Snyder put, like, whale songs in the background of, like, a mix of his voice.
Did he?
Yeah. So would you see... You don't hardly ever hear it, but, like, when he's talking, sometimes it's like... Or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting choice. I think it's an original choice, because you could have easily gone to the really, like, superhuman version.
Booming, godlike voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with that one. It's not what I expected, but I didn't hate it. What about Vite? Ozzy?
See, I do like him as a character. I found it odd that they wanted to do, like, a weird thing where it has, like, nipples on the costume and stuff like that.
I heard that it was a reference to the Joel Schumacher Batman costume.
Yeah, I heard that too, but I'm like, for what?
Exactly, like, why? I guess they say, like, the comic is deconstructing superhero comics, so the movie is also deconstructing superhero movies.
Okay.
And I guess that works, but, like, who picks up on that, you know?
Nobody.
Yeah, he has a terrible costume in this.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his, like, comic costume either.
Yeah, that's
just
no
like,
good either. Just a
it's
robe.
Like the tights and the drapes.
Yeah. Yes. What about the actor?
I think he did a great job.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked it.
I didn't mind him. I wish maybe he was a little bit more physically empowering.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, you think he's like a gymnast. He's like a peak athlete, and most gymnasts don't look like Captain America.
No.
You know, they look more like Spider-Man.
Right.
So he's got, like, that very lean body type. I didn't mind, like, his confidence and everything.
Yeah.
They gave him a German accent, so they had, like, this hint of Nazi background.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like he needed more screen time to get a really good read on him. But I guess he was younger than I pictured.
Yeah.
Well, here's one that we can all agree on. The original Night Owl.
Oh.
Hollis Mason.
Oh.
Amazing. Oh my god.
Perfect.
Yeah. When he gives that left hook
to Captain Axis, of course. Are you kidding me?
Oh man. When he's recounting his old days with Dollar Bill, Mothman.
It's perfect.
Oh, I love it.
And I just love that him and Dan share, like, this weird relationship. They just get together and drink.
Yeah.
And just, like, talk about the old
Somehow
times.
it strikes very close to home.
Whew, the mango wheat took me by surprise.
Oh, sorry. I would have given you the other one. Yeah, we had to take a brief intermission, a recharge here. I mean, this is the ultimate cut.
You're going to throw in all the animated bits, right?
I will. The color palette stayed pretty true.
Yep.
It's got the standard Zack Snyder...
heavy saturation.
Yeah, but he kept in, the purple, yellow, and green palette of Watchmen.
Yeah.
It looks like Watchmen.
Yes.
When you look at this.
Yeah.
It's dark, but it looks like Watchmen.
Visually, it is great.
Yes.
I have nothing wrong. Anything Zack Snyder, I think, is visually great. He's got a great eye for it, and I think he's really great at setting up iconic looking shots.
Yeah.
It's just that I think sometimes it's flash over substance.
Yeah. And I think even when he tries to bring substance, I think sometimes he gets caught up in, like, the wrong interpretation of a character. And I feel like it's interpretation, it's obviously up to interpretation, but something as classical as, say, Superman, it's odd that he went the direction he did for that.
Yes.
If you gave him supreme power, he would make the best fucking superhero movie
Yes.
you could make on that material.
Yes.
Or Irredeemable.
Yes.
Or Nemesis.
Yes.
Something with a very nihilistic,
yes.
gritty, hard edge that you can embrace that, like, really dark nature.
Yes.
And he brings it into his movies. Some of them warrant it. Watchmen, I guess, does. Superman stuff, not so much. But he's got a very deconstructionist take on the material.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because he wants to kind of say something new with it.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not Zack Snyder.
You're not. No? So, as we were saying, you could debate whether or not Snyder succeeded or was the right person for the job for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it hard to argue that he didn't try his damnedest to
Yeah.
make this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like he probably gave it more of a go than any other director would do on the project.
Right.
I had heard that WB had approached him on making it, and his immediate thought was to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, it's Watchmen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of realized that, like, well, if I say no, they're just going to give it to someone else.
Yeah.
And I love Watchmen,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess, like, I kind of need to do it because I want to make it as close to it as I can.
Sure.
And maybe he did make it as close as he could. Maybe there were a ton of studio restrictions on this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
The fact that we got what we got, I think, is incredible.
Yeah, I completely agree with that too. Because do you remember way back before this movie came out, there was like an HBO series that was going to be announced that was going to be every issue a part?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And I've seen like production stuff from that, and it looks way different than the book source material than Snyder's version ever was.
I remember, like, I think in the 80s, was it Sam Hamm was a pretty famous Hollywood scriptwriter, and he was doing an adaptation, which everyone was excited about. But apparently it ended with, like, a fight at the Statue of Liberty between Dr. Manhattan and all these people, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, that's not Watchmen. Like,
that's the end of X-Men.
Exactly. I feel like we've gotten so spoiled, you know, like, who would have ever expected that we would get a faithful adaptation to Watchmen? Obviously, it has some artistic flourishes in there,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing looks amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact that it got made, I mean, he must have had so much 300 goodwill coming his way
Yes.
at this point that they let him make a hard R superhero flick starring a bunch of nobodies about characters that no one had ever heard of with a 3-hour runtime set in the 80s where the villain wins and the lead character is fully nude through the entire movie. And two heroes have a full-on sex scene until climax. In an owl ship.
Yes.
Like, the fact that this got made and distributed
That
is amazing.
That is a lot of clout.
That is the thing where I just keep coming back to that. It's kind of my same feelings towards Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that a big studio signed off on this, and all along the way, they were like, yep, keep doing what you're doing. And you look at this in hindsight, you're like, they let that pass, man? And they pulled him off Justice League? When this came out, the very first Marvel Universe movie was hitting theaters.
Mm-hmm.
This came out the same year Iron Man did.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out the same year Dark Knight did.
Oof.
So it was immediately overshadowed by both of those. Because one was fun and one was inherently good. Objectively good.
Yeah.
And this one, I feel like, really rides a line on a lot of fandom.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the camp that I still like the movie. I will watch it and enjoy it. But I do feel like every subsequent watch, I'm just like, I could just watch this part instead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a movie of great parts, maybe.
Some of its parts, just like we said before.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So 10 years removed from the original debut of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
these are our thoughts.
That's right. Here, for your consideration.
Let us know down below what you think of the movie, what you thought of the movie as it was announced. Were you as hyped as we were? We'd like to know some of that stuff.
So, if you like what you heard here and you're interested in supporting the show, we have a Patreon, which you can be a patron of. Mm-hmm. Just a simple donation grants you access to a twice-monthly podcast, as well as a ongoing monthly book club, and a slew of other perks. So, if you're feeling generous, we like money.
Who doesn't? But we really thank everyone who's already a patron, and we would like to maybe have more people come on board. There's a lot of fun stuff in the Patreon that you don't get through this just YouTube-eccentric show.
That's right.
So, until next time when we talk about more comic goodness and the hashtag still trends.
That's right.
Doomsday Clock Watch. I've been Short of the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And we have been Imperius Rex. We'll see you next time.
Imperius Rex. 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 Imperius Rex.
Well,
should we do Watchmen?
Yeah. I think we should.
It's great. Have you seen this? It's amazing.
Yes.